Good morning, everyone. It's good to see that there are a lot of people here who have just started up or have a startup baby of around a year or two old. And before I begin, I really want to ask a couple of questions. How many people here are thinking that they should start up or not? How many of them? Okay, there are few of them. And how many of you are thinking whether you should do thinking of doing a tech product company? Anyone doing tech product company? So that's quite a few. So we are actually a tech product company. Let me start by introducing Unicommerce to you. So Unicommerce is a tech product company. We are essentially offering a tech platform to e-commerce companies and to sellers who are selling on multiple marketplaces, enabling them to manage their order, inventory, and warehouses at a centralized place. Yeah, it's a cloud-based product. We were founded in 2012, about 2 years back, 26 months to be exact, and we have around 250 clients right now. Enterprise plus SMEs, correct? And collectively, they would be processing close to 30,000, 35,000 orders a day through our system. That would essentially mean around a million orders flow through our system every month. Now, I'm not sure about the entire e-commerce industry numbers, but this would essentially mean 8 to 10% of total Indian e-commerce industry. That's what we have been doing. The company was co-founded by 3 co-founders from IIT Delhi. We were from the same batch, same branch. We have known each other for about 12 years before starting this. So we really had great chemistry. We have spent hours together within college, after college. And it was in October sometime, October 2011, when we decided to do this. Now, I would like to take you through the journey of Unicommerce of 26 months. And we have learned a lot, but I have cherry-picked 6 key learnings to share with you from the product perspective, from sales perspective, selling to enterprise, selling to SMEs. And these 6 learnings, I really want you guys to take you through these 6 learnings. And one of it actually happened even before we started. So it was 3 months before we started our company, and we realized that all 3 of us ever since last 7, 8 years wanted to start a company, right? And we just couldn't start it because of one reason or the other reason. Because we were not in same city, because Karan was getting married, and then I had to do an MBA, then we was getting married. We couldn't do it in any of those years. And eventually it happened when probably we were at our peak of personal responsibilities. All of us were married. All of us had a kid, and I had to pay back my education loan. So then we thought, if we could do it now, we could have done it any time in the past. So that's the point, that with growing age, your responsibilities keep on increasing. And there'll be never a point that you'll think now is the right time. It would rarely happen. I don't think it will happen. So my point here is that many times people don't do what they want to do for the fear of worst. And what is the worst that could happen? I think the worst is already happening when your life is passing by and you're not living your dream. So my point here is just do it right now. I won't say blindly jump into it. Like, I knew I had a loan to pay, but even if I didn't pay that loan for next 15 months, I know bank people are not coming after me. So the ground rule that can be set here is probably, if you have a place to live and you have 12, 15 months of survival money, you can start now. And that's what we did in October 2011. We left our jobs. We left our jobs, and while serving the notice period, we were thinking what idea to implement. And it took us good 3 months to come up with an idea of inventory and warehouse management, which was like probably a 100-year-old idea. And I think we were all set to prove what? We were all set to prove this famous quote: success is 1% idea and 99% execution. Now, we strongly believe in this quote, and we also did believe it in it then. See, basically, we evaluated many number of systems, and the nitty-gritties and subtleties involved in processes, in technology, in representation of the product is essentially what execution is, and it's essentially what differentiates a successful product versus an unsuccessful product. We aren't saying that we are an established company. We are very far from where we want to be. But having achieved what we have achieved in the last 2 years, we consider it a success in its own term. And I would like to believe that we testify this statement to a good extent. And now, so the phase 1, the step 1 for our startup was ready. We had an idea in mind, but the next step was productifying it. So none of us has ever been involved in operations or supply chain or ever worked in this domain. None of us has ever visited a warehouse even in their entire life. So how would we go about building this product? That is when, so we decided, let's read some. Okay, we bought a book. We bought a book on warehouse management. It's a book by Guy Richards. Now you'll be laughing that this was probably the first book we bought after our schooling, all three of us put together, correct? And you'll be laughing that these guys will make a software reading a book. Yeah, we didn't do it. Basically, the intent of the book was to understand what the processes are, what are those terms, what are those jargons. So if I go up and meet some industry expert, they won't laugh at me, they won't embarrass me. So that's what happened. We read this book and many other books and went to meet many people, and of which this was this nice, kind gentleman, Ankush Mehra, who comes with 25 years of warehousing experience in retail with Reliance and many other companies, and is right now co-founder at limeroad.com. He really helped us get the product right in first go. He gave us good domain knowledge. Apart from this, we also watched YouTube videos for hours, videos of Amazon fulfillment, videos of other big e-commerce warehouses across the world. We visited a lot of warehouses, not once, several times within the country, retail warehouses, e-commerce warehouses. We spent close to 30-45 days on this before writing a single line of code. Okay, this happened for during mid-December to January 2012. And then for next 3 months, we locked ourselves in a room, in a basement room, and wrote the code for it, get the product ready in next 3 months. And by the end of 4th month into our startup, we had a very good, nice, beautiful product, Uniware, which we decided to launch and get a feedback from the market. And the feedback was tremendous. I mean, within 3 months of our launch, we signed up 8 enterprise clients, of which we signed up companies like Bluestone, Snapdeal, Jabong. And by the end of 7 months in the startup, we were doing close to 8,000 orders a day through our system. And that's like 2.5 lakh orders a month. We had steady stream of cash flows flowing into the system. We were cash flow positive within 7 months. That is when we decided to do a PR with Next Big What, and it really helped us because we got good investor interest flowing into the company. That's when we met Nexus, and within maybe 2-3 months from PR, we closed a round with them. So we were really in a comfortable position 10 months down the line of starting our company. We were VC funded and we were cash flow positive. That's a good, comfortable position to be in. But during the same time, we got a very good, interesting learning that will be applicable to all the tech product companies in the industry who are dealing with enterprise clients especially. I won't call it a learning because it was more of a decision at our end. We decided not to customize our product specific to a client and do configurations of the product. I'll explain a bit. So 3-4 months into handling enterprise clients, there was a steady stream of customized requirements flowing in from all directions, from all the enterprise clients. Now these customized requirements could be as lame as, my warehouse manager is a left-hander. Why don't you put this submit button on the left-hand side of the screen? It will be easier for him. Or it could be highly specific, highly genuine. Now I'm not saying here that you shouldn't listen to your customer, but you should not blindly follow him. That's very important, because if you decide to raise these tools, right, these tools here are developers, your product managers. If you decide to pick up these tools for every client, then your product is not a product anymore, it's a project. And with 5-7 such clients or 5-7 such projects running in your company, it will just kill the nimbleness of a tech startup. It will just kill the much needed nimbleness of your startup. And you will just procrastinate the end result. By doing this, you're just procrastinating the end result, which is shutting down. So I would strongly recommend against it. I would say this is a deadly no. And if you decide to do it, declare yourself as a service company, declare your product as a project, and probably charge, most importantly, probably charge 5 to 6, 7 times more than what you charge for a product. Then only it's a scalable service model. Right? We decided to remain a product company, and we said, we decided we'll handle customization in 2 ways. One would be we'll build every customization as a configuration is a system. So if a client wants it, he can configure it at his own end. If he doesn't want it, he cannot. He doesn't configure it basically. So basically, it ended up as a feature in the product rather than a customized development which is specific to a client. That's how we handled customization in one way. And the second or a better way could be saying politely or subtly putting that this is not the best practice and you shouldn't do it. This is the best practice which we already have in the product. You should implement it this way. So these are the 2 things, saying no and putting it as a configuration really helped and worked for us. So with these thought and with new VC money coming in, we were all set to ramp up, add more clients. So over the next 12 months, 12, 13 months, we reached out to every mid-size, large-size e-commerce company in the country and signed up quite a few in different verticals: office supplies, jewelry, furniture, apparels. Signed quite a few company, and by the end of 20 months, that was December 2013, we were around 50 enterprise clients doing 20,000 orders a day through our system. And during this period itself, we started working on another product, which was targeted towards SMEs. Now these SMEs are sellers who are selling on multiple marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, Flipkart, Snapdeal. Now these sellers are typically SMEs, distributors, small manufacturers, boutique stores. It could be anything. And working with them is really different experience than working with these enterprise companies which we have been working with. And we launched this 20-month milestone I put here because we have launched our SME product during this time. And you can see this pivot. During the last 6 months, we have added quite a few brands and big e-commerce companies into our client portfolio. Apart from that, we have added 200 SME clients. That's why you can see the pivot from 50 clients to 250 clients. And our order volume per day has gone from 20,000 to 35,000. Now, last 6 months working with these SMEs were really, we got to learn a lot from these last 6 months, because in working with these SMEs are very different from enterprise clients, as I've said, in terms of sales, in terms of support, in terms of product. The most important learnings are, I would like to share here. The next would be from the sales perspective. When we reached out to these clients, there was an unsaid truth about the SME industry in India, that they are the customers who know what they want, but they don't want to pay for it. They want it free. So this is something which which I would say it's pretty early on to say, but this is something which we don't certify and we consider it as a myth. Because if you go to a customer and you demonstrate a value proposition in customer's own language, in his own terms, the value proposition could be that you're saving him money, you are reducing his cost, increasing sales, or improving efficiency or accuracy in the system and delivering XYZ. Believe me, he'll be the first person to come up with the objective value of your product and associate a value with it. Because these are the people who come with very good business acumen and business sense, because many of them have grown 50 CR, 100 CR business in few years, while people like us were preparing for IITs or were fighting for maybe 15-20% hike at their respective jobs. These were those people who have come up with those 100, 500 crore businesses. So they, within flick of seconds, within few minutes, they'll associate a value with your product. Okay, this product is worth 1 lakh rupee a value a month, or 50,000 rupee a value a month to me. And like any logical person, they won't mind paying for it. I'm quite sure they would bargain it to their last to the last breath, but they'll fudge. So the lesson we have learned here is that don't flex your muscle when it comes to pricing. Don't flex your muscle. Wait for it. Even if you have to leave the offer on the table, wait for it. That client might come two weeks down the line or 2 months down the line. That's what that's the approach we have taken. It has been working good so far. Let's see how it goes. The second learning which we had was. So again, it was also a conveyed truth that sell to business owners, since they have to pay for the product. If it is convinced, you are done. And there's no need to sell to the end user. This pretty much holds true in the case of enterprise sales. So if I go and sell to Jabong, Snapdeal, I don't have to meet their warehouse people and convince them this is the good product, use it. But when it comes to selling to SMEs, right? We take a case of Tele. I'm a business owner and we use Tele, and I'm not a great fan. Still, we are using it because my CA, who's the end user, is accustomed to it. So when it comes to selling SMEs, always sell to the end user. Even I'll go to the extent of saying that if you have to choose to sell to anyone, sell to the end user. Because if he's not satisfied, pre-sales, post-sales, if he's not satisfied, he'll crib about your product to the boss, and I really doubt he'll get the second check for your product. Since we are into cloud, so we have to get checks regularly. So yeah. I would go to the extent saying that you have to convince the end user, because having more and more trained people on your product eventually is like growing your own industry, customer base and knowledge base, right? And the last learning which I would like to share is around ramping up. So in last 6 months, since we have added 200 plus clients, there were a lot of things going on in terms of sales, product, support, and one thing which I would emphasize here is you should build strong support team before really ramping up the sales. Whenever I talk about this, right, instance comes to my mind so it happened when a seller along with his mom walked into our office, and they said they wanted to meet the CEO, which was me, and I was unaware of the agenda. I had no clue what's about to happen, and we stepped into the meeting room. The first sentence which I heard was, "Do you want us to shut down our business because your support guy is not picking up the phone?" I was totally clueless, and that monologue of criticizing went on probably for 10 minutes, and I was on the hearing end and probably apologized apologized 10 times during those 10 minutes, and it was really like my mom scolding me for not doing the science project right, and so it wasn't good. It was a bad experience, but it was a very good learning. Right after the meeting, we put strong processes around support. We hired a bigger team. We implemented a good ticketing system. We had a system. We implemented more reporting around it. So we were using desk.com. We enforce SLA. So we right now work with a service level of 30 minutes of non-automated response from our support side. And that seller is actually one of the happiest clients we have right now. And we do have his testimonial and his picture on our website too. Yeah. So basically, when dealing with SMEs, right, they are very critical about these two things. They are super critical about non-delivery of committed stuff, okay, and they are critical about support services. So whatever may happen, you do not fudge on these two things. So the simple things we did was to avoid this was like whenever we commit something, right, now we have a sales team of around 20 people going and meeting 200 sellers every month. Going and meeting 1,000 sellers every month and committing different things to them. But whenever we sign a proposal, we make sure that we get a sign from a seller on what we have committed, right? This is the practice we enforce to make sure that there is nothing non-committed, uncommitted stuff going from our side, right? And similarly, we worked on our support side and ensured that there is no bad name about our product in the market, because these SMEs works in clusters, right? And it's very easy to spread a bad name around the industry. And we really worked on avoiding that. Yeah. So I would like to end here with a summary of all these 6 learnings. I'm quite sure that we have just scratched the tip of SME iceberg. There's a lot to learn, but which we'll learn in coming years. But yeah, these are the 6 learnings I would like to share at this point. Yeah. And it's open for questions now.
Thanks, Ankit.